And welcome back to The Verdict. Mick Cornett with Kent Myers. We're glad you're here with us. And today's show, we're going to discuss a topic that really affects just about everybody at one time or another.
The home. Buying and selling a home is usually the most important investment or sale that a consumer may make in the course of their financial lifetime. And sometimes they do it once, sometimes they do it several times. A lot of pitfalls involved in that, a lot of advice that's needed that sometimes is not taken advantage of. But we've got two excellent guests today. They're going to tell us about things to think about, do's and don'ts about buying and selling homes.
You know, there's a certain excitement about buying or selling a house, but to me it's always negated by the fact that you have to move all your stuff. So maybe we have a show about moving all your stuff someday.
Well, we're going to have a van line show or something one of these days, but today we're going to talk about the exciting part.
That's right. Selling and buying a home, the role of a realtor. It's all coming up on The Verdict.
Every day America uses clean-burning natural gas instead of coal or oil is a day of victory for our environment. That's why Chesapeake chose to explore for natural gas exclusively, and we've never looked back. Because natural gas burns twice as clean as oil or coal, and reducing carbon emissions to combat potential global warming is every bit as urgent as cutting our dependence on energy imports. As America's #1 driller of new gas wells, Chesapeake is moving fast to find untapped reserves of natural gas here at home. It's the right fuel for America's economy and the fuel for a clean air future. We just happen to be early to see it so clearly. Chesapeake, natural gas wins the day.
Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Go!
Satellite go out again?
Yeah, rain. But this is just as fun.
Don't live in satellite denial. Get the reliability you expect from Cox, your friend in the digital age.
Not sure where you're headed? NATS can help you find your way. It's the National Athletic Testing System. We call it NATS. You'll call it your launching pad to success. NATS will give you a standardized evaluation that will help you measure your performance and give that information to college coaches so they can accurately evaluate your potential. NATS also helps with academic support. Join with the Oklahoma High School Football Coaches Association and head for success at www.nats.us.
Welcome back to The Verdict. Mick Cornett with Kent Myers, and Kent's going to introduce today's guests.
We're pleased to welcome back Dennis Nevius, the 2007 president of the Oklahoma Association of Realtors. Dennis is a graduate of the University of Central Oklahoma in 1993. He was the founding partner of Keller Williams Agency in Edmond. He's on the Nevius team with his wife Judy and son Matt. They're all engaged in the business together. He is a worker and volunteer for Habitat for Humanity, very active in the community. This is his second visit, and we hope not your last. Welcome back.
Thank you, Ken.
On my left, we have Doug Emde, who's here for the first time. Doug is the owner of Pioneer Realty in Stillwater. He's on the board of directors of the Oklahoma Association of Realtors. He's also the secretary-treasurer of the Oklahoma Association of Realtors. He's been very active in the real estate business for approximately 20 years. So, Doug, welcome.
Well, thank you.
We've got a lot of years of experience here with us today.
We do. We got a lot of questions, so we better get
Good.
after it. Buying or selling a house, what's the role of a realtor? How would you define it?
Well, Mick, the basic goal is to help the property be priced right. That's probably number one. Staging the home, getting the right things done on the property to get it sold are also very important. There are many issues that the seller, a lot of times, they don't see that when they're living in the home on a day-to-day basis. They may not see the aging on the roof or the carpet being deteriorated over a period of time. So we go in and help them to correct those things, to help them be in the best light when their competition is compared with theirs when buyers go out to see other homes.
Do you generally find them responsive to your suggestions? Are they resistant?
Some are resistant, and a lot of times that resistance is because of money issues. But we do have actually a carpet company in Edmond that we work with that is willing to carry the cost of the carpet until closing, so they don't have to pay for it up front. Or they might be willing to be paid at closing on other painting issues or other repairs.
Doug, let me ask you a question. I've seen in some literature that you all furnished something called an a la carte agency. I know what the phrase generally means when you go into a restaurant. What's it mean in the real estate business?
Well, it's similar to what you get in a restaurant. A lot of your real estate companies are full service companies where we do what Dennis said. We help price the property, we advertise the property, we market the property to other realtors. An a la carte company will have a list of services that they provide, and they can range anywhere from just listing your property on a multiple listing system, or they may have additional services that they provide. They may put it on the MLS, and then they may present
now,
offers. MLS is the multiple listing service.
Okay.
Right, and that is the bare minimum that I've seen. Some companies will say, okay, we'll put it on the MLS, the multiple listing system. If it sells, if our office sells it, we'll charge you this fee. If another office sells it, we'll charge you an additional fee. And so the one thing I would say to people that are interested in looking into an a la carte company is making sure that you're aware of what services are available to you, because there are some companies that just have very limited services, and you may need services down the line.
Are the a la carte companies generally members of the Oklahoma Association of Realtors?
We do have members of the Oklahoma Association of Realtors that are a la carte companies, yes.
And is this a relatively new concept, or has this been around for a while?
It's been around for a while. In Oklahoma, I think it's probably been around for the 5 or 6 years, and nationwide it's been around a little longer than that. You do get into issues, and when Dennis was talking about what a realtor does in a transaction, we had an example of a case where a couple had gotten a divorce years before, and the house was under contract. The husband was trying to sell it to the ex-husband, but to clear title, we had to get a deed from the ex-wife. And an a la carte company wouldn't have gone to the lengths that we went to go kind of smooth mend fences there to get the ex-wife to sign the quick claim deed to get clear title.
That can be hazardous duty.
It really can be, right. So we do provide services, but you do want to be aware up front of what's available to you if you do go with an a la carte company.
Just by generalization, what percentage of members of the Oklahoma Association of Realtors are full-service realtors, and what percentage, just approximately, would be a la carte?
Oh, I would think probably 97% would be full service. But also, when you do say full service, you can always negotiate with your realtor. The commissions are negotiable. And you can go into any broker basically and say, look, I don't need this, and let the broker explain to you why he thinks you do need it. Mm-hmm. So in reality, I think most brokerages are open to negotiation as far as what services they're going to provide. But we have provided a list of 184 items that a realtor does in a typical transaction, and that's really not even an all-inclusive list.
Yeah, one final thing, and then let Mick help out here. That 184, 189 things, whatever it is on the website, is it not?
Yes.
I mean, it can be downloaded by a consumer that wants to see what those things are.
That's correct.
Okay.
Dennis, I see the sign for sale by owner in a yard. Now, what does that indicate? Does that mean that no realtors are involved, or what does that sign mean to a realtor by definition?
Usually that means that the seller wants to try and sell it on their own, and that usually means that a realtor is not involved unless they're working with maybe a buyer that wants to purchase that property. And a lot of times we work with for sale by owners in that capacity.
Is it still location, location, location? What's the big indicator in the price of real estate?
It's still location. The next two might be financing, condition, price, schools. There are a lot of issues that come into play. Most people are looking for the whole package as far as what they're looking for in a home. They want one that they can move into. When we try and work with sellers, we're trying to help them because so many times they don't know all the issues on contracts. We have about a 14-page contract with addendums that we have to work with now. It used to be a one-page. That was a whole lot easier when I started. But now there's so many issues involved, not only legally, but on the issues of the inspections. So many things can come up that we have to try and work through to get the house to close.
I guess there's a lot of items that a seller nowadays has to disclose as a problem or a potential problem that was not necessary to disclose in the past.
That's right.
Such
in fact,
as?
Most for sale by owners are not aware that disclosure might be required. There are forms that are required, and because of that, we have to get those filled out in advance when we list a property. And if a buyer asks for them, a for sale by owner is required to do so also.
That's interesting. How's the real estate market in the Oklahoma City metropolitan area?
It's actually very good. We had record year in 2005 as far as the numbers, and just in the last 2 years in Edmond, which is more the market I'm involved with, we've seen over a 7% increase in price each of the last 2 years.
What about the Tulsa market?
The Tulsa market has had a little more fluctuation because of some employment situations going on over there, but they are doing very well also.
And rural Oklahoma, is there a way to measure that?
Well, we have actually information on our website that tells you what's happening across the state in the various areas, but there are some areas that are not doing as well that because of different employers in that area that have either closed or are opening up, they're seeing pluses and minuses.
Comes back to jobs.
Yeah, and the oil industry right now, as you know, is driving a lot of the prices and a lot of the market, and we're doing very well.
We're discussing the real estate industry, how and when to choose a realtor, and what services you might expect. We've got two experts, and they'll continue when we return on The Verdict.
The Journal-Record is pleased to be a sponsor of The Verdict. The Journal-Record, since 1903, the best source of Oklahoma business news and legal information.
Shining is taking responsibility. At Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Oklahoma, we know managing your health care can be overwhelming, and it's our job to help you meet the challenge. By guiding, supporting, and showing the way, we encourage you to gain control. Because we believe the best tool we can give you is the confidence to take charge. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Oklahoma, shining through.
Okiwani is an Indian name for a place where children play. When we obtained the camp, we found a lot of oil debris left in the woods. We saw a commercial about how the oil and natural gas industry cleans up old oil well sites. We called the OERB, and they agreed to remove tons of concrete and steel. It didn't cost us a thing. Thousands of children have left their footprints on this land. Thanks to the oil and gas industry, they will for a long time to come.
Wilsey, Meyer, Eatman, Tate. We're accountants. We do taxes, business valuations, estate planning, and consulting. And we're right here in Oklahoma, working with the owners of small and medium-sized businesses. Steve Wilsey and Stuart Meyer have the resources and the experience. Wilsey, Meyer, Eatman, Tate in Oklahoma City and Tulsa.
Looks like somebody doesn't want you to know the facts about Cox Digital Telephone. Maybe it's because over 1.5 million customers are saving big, and you can too. Plus, you'll save even more on all your Cox services when you bundle today.
Oh, here's that new phone service I've been hearing about.
So while the phone company may not like competition,
Nice doggy.
you're gonna love it.
Nice doggy.
Hi, this is James Garner.
Hi, this is Reba McEntire.
Hi, this is Johnny Bench.
Hi, I'm Barry Switzer.
Hey everybody, this is Vince Gill.
Welcome to my home state of Oklahoma,
where we'll be celebrating 100 years of statehood
in 2007.
Our strength is our people, and the 2,100 Oklahomans from the Cox Communications family are proud to be part of Oklahoma's story. Cox and Oklahoma, true partners.
Happy birthday, Oklahoma.
Welcome back to The Verdict. We've got a couple of real estate experts here, especially involving the buying and selling of property. Doug, we talked about the Oklahoma City market, the Tulsa market, and the Oklahoma rural market before we left. How does Oklahoma's housing prices compare nationally?
Really favorably. If you look at the national trend, last year I believe the national trend was 8.4% decrease in value, whereas Oklahoma was a little over 3% increase in value. That's a little deceiving. You think 3% isn't that much, but 2005 was a record year. And so we still increased over a record year.
Now, generally, aren't we seeing about 5% increases in the metro a year?
I'm not real familiar with Metro. I'm from Stillwater. And so
what would you see in Stillwater?
In Stillwater, it depends on the neighborhood, really. We see anywhere from 3 to 6% in Stillwater. But we've been steady. Our growth has been steady. I think we've got a firm foundation in Oklahoma, and that's one reason why we've not seen a decline. And I really don't expect a decline when California is dropping and Florida and the East Coast is dropping, because we didn't see the huge increases in value that they saw.
Dennis, what are we seeing in Oklahoma City and Edmond market? What percentage annual increase?
Well, last year we saw a little over 7% increase in prices. In January and February alone, we saw about a 15% increase in the number of sales, which was very good, even with all the snow and ice we had. So it was kind of a shock whenever we saw the numbers. We said, that's pretty good. And the average price went up about $4,000 over last year. So that was really good.
Let me ask a question to either of you. We hear the phrase buyer's market or seller's market. And of course, nationally, I think the experts would say it's a buyer's market nationally because of the decline that we've just discussed. How would you characterize the Oklahoma market, either Oklahoma City and Stillwater or Oklahoma in general?
Well, I think right now what we're seeing in the market is that it's really more of a seller's market because the time on the market is very short. It's running in the 70 to 90 days, which anything below 90 to 120 days we consider a seller's market. If it goes over that, then it's more of a buyer's market.
In the rural areas, typically I think what you're going to see is a buyer's market in the higher value homes. The homes under $125,000, those probably sell very quickly, and that is a seller's market still. But the move-up homes, the higher value homes, it's probably becoming a little bit more of a buyer's market at this point.
Let me change the subject a little bit and talk about online realtor services such as Zillow.com. What can you tell us about that, and what are the pluses and minuses of that kind of an operation?
Well, actually, I believe it's Zillow. I'm not part of it, but I went in to check recently because Zillow is such a pronounced company that's doing a lot of advertising.
What's it do?
They put information out. It's information that people want to find out what the value of their home would be. They can go into Zillow as a home seller and they can find out what other homes are selling for. I went into it to find out what was happening actually in Edmond for the first part of this year, since January 1st. And I found out that they had, in Southeast Edmond, 26 homes that they had as far as sales. With a full-service realtor who could provide the information, there were actually 70 sales that I found on our information. If you were trying to price your home correctly, you wouldn't want the incomplete information from one site versus what a realtor could provide you. And that's part of the fallacy that I see in some of the sites that are out there. They don't have access to all the information.
What are the dangers of overpricing a house? I think most people would say, well, I'm going to price it high and maybe somebody will pay for it. Is that a mistake?
It really is a mistake. The pricing of your home is so critical to the selling process that it really can stigmatize the property. A lot of times we run into the person who's trying to sell their home and they're of the opinion that their home is better than the home next door. Well, you have to put yourself in a buyer's shoes and see, if the home next door were for sale and yours were for sale for $20,000 more, would they pay that, or would they just take the one next door? It's the principle of substitution. We can substitute that house for this one. So the home goes on overpriced, it sits on the market, and people begin to wonder after a while, is there something wrong with that home? Why hasn't it sold? So that's one problem that you run into. Another problem you run into is realtors, we have buyers on the hook, more or less, for lack of a better term. We have people who want to buy a particular type of house. And so we know that when a house comes on the market, we're going to take them to that house and show them that house. If it's overpriced, they're not going to buy it. But when you drop the price 6 weeks later, they're not going to come back and look at it again. They've looked at it once, they're done. And then the third problem you can run into is, let's say you overprice it and you get lucky and you do get a buyer to come in and make an offer. It still has to be appraised for mortgage purposes. And that's the last thing that you can trip over. If it doesn't appraise out, how do you complete the sale?
Well, have we run into any periods of overpricing in the Edmond area?
Well, I don't know if it's called overpricing. We do have a lot of homes in the upper end as far as market. There's a lot more homes because the builders have been building up probably more than what they should have for a period of time. They're scaling back right now. The banks are not making as many construction loans for those. So I think that'll adjust in the next few months.
How does a person that's going to sell a home, how are they likely to find the realtor? Are they going to the Yellow Pages? Are they going to look in the newspaper? Are they going to ask their neighbor or their cousin who may have just sold a home? Is it going to be word of mouth? Go to the internet? What's the marketing trends for a realtor? How do they find customers?
Well, a lot of them are going to the internet. And actually we have a website called Why Realtors Work that is up, and it gives information as far as a realtor that they could find across the state, not just in the metro areas. A lot of times on the internet, they'll find the biggest websites or the ones that people that pay the most money to have the most hits. They pay for those services. They actually will find all the information about where the realtors are and who they can use.
Let's focus in on that Why Realtors Work campaign of the Oklahoma Association of Realtors. Tell us about that real quickly.
Right. Well, we've got billboards going up. Some of them are actually already up on Broadway. There's going to be one on 235. There's several other things going on as far as newspaper ads, and we are putting the word out as far as how we can help work with buyers and sellers throughout the state.
Now, this is a program of the Oklahoma Association of Realtors.
Yes, sir.
So it's all the realtors,
all the realtors,
member realtors
have pitched in for us to be able to provide the advertising to help them in their business.
Try to answer the consumer's questions about
Sure.
buying and selling.
Absolutely.
Now, you also, we'll get to it, but you've got your own website for that program, do you not?
Yes.
And it's a pretty...
WhyRealtorsWork.com.
That's pretty complicated, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll give that again in just a little bit.
Okay.
How does a realtor add value, Doug, to a sale of a home sufficient to justify the commission that the realtor charges?
Well, the first thing I would say is the possibility of the save factor. And that is where someone sells their house, they price their house, they have no knowledge of the market. And for example, we had one up in Stillwater that the lady just sold her house to some people that came up, knocked on her door because they offered her $25,000. Well, the house was never worth $25,000. It was a $60,000 house. And so without her calling a realtor, making a call to a realtor to just get an idea of the market value, she lost quite a bit of money there doing that. So we do add value in that instance alone.
Well, we certainly appreciate you coming on the show and giving us more information about how to choose a realtor and what services might be available. Appreciate both of you, Doug and Dennis.
Well,
Thanks
thank you
very much.
Kent and I'll have a final word when we get back.
The good life comes naturally to Tulsa, where nature's beauty is matched with an eye for aesthetics. A legacy of neighborhoods graced with lawns and landscaping and handsome homes. a place that seems to have patented an ideal lifestyle. Bank First is loyal to the quality of life Tulsa assures its citizens, to the priority placed on education, culture, and growth. Loyal to builders who transform raw land into residential charm. Developers who see opportunity and add vitality to Tulsa's economy. Bank First serves both enterprise and private lives that need a loyal partner. It's how we help nurture this city's very good life. Bank First. Loyal to Oklahoma. Loyal to you.
Just keep it.
Thank you.
Dr. Kessler? What's up with the pizzas?
Well, I just got my first satellite bill, and those extra fees were a bit of a shocker. So I had to take a second job.
Hey, this was supposed to be pepperoni, dillweed.
Hey, it's Dr. Dillweed to you.
Whatever.
Kids. It's cool. I'm a people person.
Don't live in satellite denial. Get all your entertainment without the hidden charges from Cox, your friend in the digital age.
There's a whole new world online, but it's not always safe for kids. Never agree to meet anyone you only know online, because they might not be who they say they are. And if you must meet them, take a parent along. It's the safe way for kids. Right, gang?
Right. Be safe online.
Thanks to Lauren Nelson and Cox, we're working to keep Oklahoma kids safer online. For your free guide, log on now. And if you feel your child has been placed in danger by someone online, notify law enforcement today.
Welcome back to The Verdict. We've been discussing real estate efforts with a couple of experts.
Yes, and if anybody has any questions they'd like answered, I'm sure the Oklahoma Association of Realtors would be glad to field those questions and give them a referral to somebody in the community.
We have a couple of websites we'd like to draw your attention to. First one, the one that was mentioned in the show, whyrealtorswork.com. That is sponsored by the Realty Association here in Oklahoma. And also want to drive you to our website, theverdict.tv. You can go there and tell us about a show that you'd like to see. For Kent Myers, I'm Mick Cornett. We'll see you next week on The Verdict.
The preceding program was produced by the Production Services Group at Cox Communications, exclusively for the Cox Channel.